Imagine growing up in a family that escaped a dangerous cult, lived in poverty, and renamed themselves after a mythical bird rising from the ashes. That's the story Joaquin Phoenix carries, a childhood full of chaos. A tragedy like losing his brother River and then becoming one of the most intense and celebrated actors in Hollywood. But behind all the fame and awards lies a deeply personal transformation, one sparked by a miracle so profound, it led him to accept Jesus. How does someone go from the depths of grief and confusion to finding faith in such a powerful way? Let me tell you a story about a family that seemed like they were always running from their past, from poverty, and even from themselves. It's the story of Joaquin Phoenix, whose life wasn't just about Hollywood lights and Oscar speeches. It started in chaos, filled with love, heartbreak, and resilience, long before the world knew his name. Joaquin's parents, Arlen and John Bottom, lived anything but ordinary lives. Arlen, raised in a strict Jewish family in the Bronx, abandoned her planned-out future as a secretary and wife to hitchhike across America in search of meaning. John, an orphan and Vietnam draft dodger, was equally adrift when he picked her up on the road. Together, they embraced the 1960s counterculture, living a nomadic life of communes and beaches. They married in a hippie commune and soon started their unconventional family. Their first child, River, was born on the floor of a shack. That pretty much sums up their life back then, chaotic but full of hope. They traveled across the US, picking up odd jobs and raising their kids on the road. At some point, they met a group of missionaries who introduced them to a religious group called the Children of God. For Arlen and John, it seemed like the peace and purpose they'd been searching for. But joining the group came with a price. They moved to South America as missionaries, scraping by in conditions most of us can't even imagine. It was during this time that Joaquin was born, on October 28, 1974, in Puerto Rico. The Bottom family had no money, no real home, and no stability. Joaquin's earliest memories were of his father working as a gardener while the family relied on alms collected by the children. Eventually, Arlen and John started seeing cracks in the teachings of the Children of God. There were rumors, ugly ones, about abuse and corruption. By 1978, they had enough. They escaped the cult, boarding a fishing boat to Florida with their children, leaving behind what could have been a far darker future. It was dangerous, but it saved their family. Back in the US, the Bottoms began rebuilding their lives. They changed their last name to Phoenix, a symbolic act of starting over. And slowly they climbed out of the ashes of their past, ready for a new chapter. By the time Joaquin Phoenix and his family left their troubled past behind, they were ready for a fresh start. Life back in Florida felt like a blessing at first. For the Phoenix family, just having a roof over their heads and meals on the table was a huge step up from the chaos they'd been living in. It wasn't perfect, though. John, Joaquin's dad, found work as a gardener on a wealthy musician's estate, but the job didn't last long after he injured his back. Once again, the family was struggling, and this time, the pressure fell on the kids. Joaquin and his siblings, especially River, had a natural talent for performing, winning hearts in local talent shows. River's charm began opening doors, and their mother, Arlen, believed they could aim higher. Convinced her children could make it in Hollywood, she sold everything, packed the family into a beat-up van, and drove to Los Angeles to chase their dreams. When they got to Hollywood, though it wasn't exactly the dreamland they imagined, money was tight. So tight that they barely had enough to get by. Arlen found a job as a casting secretary, hoping to network her way into the industry, while River worked tirelessly to land auditions. His talent didn't go unnoticed. Before long, he landed roles that brought in just enough income to keep the family afloat. Joaquin, who at the time called himself Leaf because he thought it sounded cooler, started tagging along with River to auditions. He quickly realized he loved acting too. It wasn't just about performing. It was about escaping into other worlds, a place far away from the struggles they had faced. Joaquin began landing small roles, building his own path in Hollywood alongside his brother. But life wasn't all glitter and glamour. River's star rose fast, and with fame came immense pressure. Tragically, it all came crashing down in 1993 when River died of a drug overdose outside the Viper Room, a nightclub in Los Angeles. Joaquin was with him that night, and it shattered him. Losing his brother was the kind of heartbreak that leaves scars you can't see. Joaquin withdrew from Hollywood, questioning everything: his purpose, his career, and even life itself. It took years for Joaquin to find his way back, and even then, something was missing. Fame felt hollow. The roles were exciting, but his soul was restless. He was searching for something more, something deeper. That's when the miracle happened. Joaquin experienced a moment so profound that it shifted everything he thought he knew. He's described it as a spiritual awakening, a moment when he felt the presence of Jesus so clearly that it couldn't be ignored. This wasn't just a passing feeling, it was a turning point. Joaquin began to see the world differently, realizing that faith wasn't about following rules or rituals. It was about love, compassion, and understanding. After that life-changing moment, Joaquin Phoenix wasn't the same person anymore. It wasn't just about his career or his personal struggles. This was about something much bigger, something that touched every part of his life. Accepting Jesus brought a kind of clarity that Joaquin had been searching for his entire life, even if he didn't realize it at the time. But here's the thing. Living out that faith in a place like Hollywood, that's a whole other story. Joaquin didn't suddenly turn into someone preaching from a pulpit. That's not his style. For him, faith became a personal journey, something he carried with quiet strength rather than loud declarations. You could see it in the choices he made after his awakening. He became even more committed to his activism, fighting for animal rights and environmental causes. For Joaquin, these weren't just political stances, they were acts of compassion, extensions of the love he felt Jesus taught. If you've followed Joaquin's career, you've probably noticed that he doesn't just take any role thrown his way. After his awakening, he became even more selective about the stories he wanted to tell. His performance in Mary Magdalene, where he portrayed Jesus, was one of those roles that came from a deep place within him. He's talked about how playing Jesus wasn't just another acting gig, it was transformative. Imagine trying to step into the shoes of someone so central to millions of people's faith. It wasn't just intimidating, it was humbling. During the crucifixion scenes, Joaquin said he felt a deep emotional connection to the humanity of Jesus. It wasn't just about the suffering, it was about understanding what it meant for someone to willingly endure so much out of love and compassion for others. For Joaquin, it wasn't about portraying a divine figure. It was about bringing out the man, the human being who felt pain, fear, and love just like the rest of us. That perspective shaped how he approached not only his work, but his own life. Of course, not everyone understood or appreciated his transformation. Hollywood isn't exactly known for being a place where faith is celebrated. Some people called it a phase, others dismissed it as a publicity stunt. But Joaquin wasn't interested in defending himself or explaining his beliefs to the world. He was more focused on living out his faith through his actions. Whether it was the way he treated people on set or the causes he supported, Joaquin let his life speak for itself. Even in the face of skepticism, Joaquin stayed true to what he believed. And that's not easy, especially in an industry that often values ego over humility. But for him, it wasn't about fitting in or being liked. It was about staying grounded in what truly mattered. His faith gave him a new lens through which to view the world, one that emphasized kindness, love, and understanding over anything else. Joaquin's journey isn't just about his incredible talent or the awards he's won. It's about resilience, transformation, and finding purpose in a world that often feels chaotic. His story reminds us that it's never too late to rise above our circumstances, to find meaning, and to live a life that reflects what we truly believe. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.